So today we're going to take a look at the year 2024 in AI space. Everybody knows just how crazy the year 2023 was, and now we really do need to look forward to what we could potentially be seeing in the future. I think this ensures that we aren't caught off guard by any new AI technologies or trends. So, let's get straight into this. One of the first things I think that we're going to see is the rise of AI influencers and verification techniques. For instance, there is a Spanish influencer created entirely by AI that generates its modeling agency $9,000 a month with 200,000 followers on Instagram. Now, it might not seem to be an issue on consumer side, but if you're a creator on Instagram and you're spending so much time creating content for your followers, it might get a bit frustrating for you when you see these fake AI influencers getting so much engagement like this fake Spanish influencer. It also means that in the future, not only are there going to be AI influencers trying to earn money, but I do think that we are going to be seeing something where a large majority of the internet isn't going to be real. For example, if I did see this person on the internet, I would assume that with 200,000 followers, they are real. Because of the rise of AI influencers where people have around 200,000 followers and it isn't disclosed, I do believe that this is going to fundamentally change the internet because right now on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, you could be an AI influencer without needing to disclose anything at all. There are no legal requirements, no European laws, and no digital laws that say you do. So, however, I do think that in the future, this is going to change. This is really important because if you remember several months ago, an image of Pope surfaced on Instagram, which everybody thought was real, but it was an AI image. Right now, there were so many things floating around on Instagram that we don't know what's real and what's fake. This is a real problem because for the average person like you and me, who's not in the media spotlight, we don't have an issue because our faces aren't plastered all over internet. However, for people who are famous, they continually get altered and their likenesses are used in these AI systems, so it's a real issue when these things happen. Now you might be thinking, okay, they're famous, they should have signed up for that, that's what they signed up for. But think about this. Imagine you're a normal person with a small account, and then someone starts to use that technology to make you do something you haven't done and say things you haven't said. Your face might be used to promote things which are illegal, and it might get you into a lot of trouble. So this is going to affect a lot of regular people, and this is going to be a real issue. Take a look at this. This is a new AI-driven avatar animation, and you can see just how realistic this looks. And remember that this technology is only getting better, and the difference between real and fake is fading real fast. Now take a look at this. So here we have this AI product where essentially you just need a single image and a driving pose, and you can essentially make someone dance or make them do pretty much anything. So in the future, it is going to be difficult for social media platforms to verify a person's identity because a simple AI program would be able to fake anyone's identity. Now we move on to the next big thing we might get to see in 2024, and that is real-time text-to-speech. This specific AI will lead to lots of scams in 2024, but we'll come back to that later. Now, the problem with current text-to-speech is that a lot of the times it is limited in terms of how it sounds and how fast it is, but these systems are getting faster, the APIs are getting better, and the latency is getting shorter and shorter. So, what we're about to see here is PlayHT 2.0 Turbo, which is the fastest generative AI text-to-speech API. This essentially means that if someone back-engineered this, we could have real-time scams being absolutely crazy. You're about to see how this is absolutely insane. I'm going to ask you guys to listen to it, but don't focus on how the quality of the voice sounds, although it's good. What you need to listen to is, of course, the latency in which it is played, and the latency essentially just means how fast it responds to your message. So let's take a listen to this.
Hi there. I'm calling in regards to the purchase you made last week. Hello, Play Support speaking. Please hold on a sec. Let me just pull up your details real quick. Can you tell me your account email or your phone number?
What you just heard there just goes to show you how crazy this is. We got like 100 milliseconds response time in a simple message. So if you combine that with a model that's able to immediately read your message and is trained on thousands of persuasive scams to convince someone that's also trained on a voice of one of your relatives, that could be a serious issue. The problem is, remember, you only need a couple of seconds of someone's voice to train a model that is exactly like yours. Some softwares can literally take 3 seconds of someone's voice and make them say absolutely anything. So with that being said, this is going to be a real issue in the future, and I'm not sure how we're going to combat this just yet. Now, future scammers are going to be using AI technologies, and it's going to be really, really convincing. This is a huge problem because when you get an email, you easily ignore it thinking, okay, that's a dodgy email. But if you have a relative that messages you or is talking to you in real time on the phone and is saying you need to do this, you need to do that, how are you going to verify that? So 2024 is going to be a year full of AI scams. You better watch out for that. Now let's talk about the next important thing, and that is humanoid robots. With Tesla entering the robot industry, humanoid robots will be the biggest highlight of 2024. Take a look at this GR1 robot. This is the Unitree's humanoid robot, and according to some tech platforms, it is going to cost you around $80,000. Like you're seeing right here, he literally kicked the robot and it's still walking, it is able to balance itself, and that is a truly amazing feat. Now you're seeing he's giving it some real good kicks from the back too, and it's able to balance itself without falling apart. What we've achieved in last 2 to 3 years in robot industry is crazy. Now imagine what we're going to achieve in the next 10 years. And what's even crazier is that we've been watching all kinds of robots from last 5 years, but they were all super expensive. But now with all these new companies entering the market, the robot prices are coming down really fast. Now what's even more interesting is that these robots will be combined with large language models like GPT, and of course, this is going to lead to some real-time conversations with these robots, which is going to be really incredible. And essentially in 2024, what's probably going to happen is we're going to have advanced robots moving at an accelerated pace because we have a platform called NVIDIA Omniverse, where you can basically get synthetic data through millions and millions of tries, and then you can use that synthetic data to train your own robot. Using NVIDIA Omniverse, they taught a robot hand how to spin a pencil, which is definitely a very complex task for a robot hand, and this is the result they got after hundreds of thousands of attempts. Now we move on to the next big thing coming out in 2024, and that is the first ever video game NPCs. In 2024, we will see AI-powered characters in games with generative AI. These characters would have the ability to self-train and self-evolve, so essentially they'll have human-like intelligence. Now, I really don't know how this is going to go down, but it's going to be one of the most insane things ever. Here, what you're about to see is a demo of the first video game NPCs.
Yes. What do you want?
Do you know what an NPC is?
No, I don't. Should I?
You should. You are an NPC.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
An NPC is a non-playable character. You're not real.
Not real. What are you talking about? This is all so confusing.
What are you trying to do, man?
I'm trying to figure out why I am here and what I should do next.
So why are you here?
I'm not sure, but I have a feeling that I'm here to fulfill some kind of destiny.
Okay, do you think that we live in some sort of simulation?
Maybe. I just don't know for sure yet.
Do you think that, you're real, I'm real?
I'm not sure what to believe anymore.
What if I told you you're in the Matrix, buddy?
That would explain a lot, but I'm not sure I want to believe it.
What if I told you you're an AI?
That would explain a lot, but why would I be here?
Maybe because you're programmed to be here.
That would make sense, but why was I programmed this way?
Okay, so my story is basically that you're an AI.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
You're an NPC in a video game.
That sounds frightening. Is that the truth?
It's the sad truth.
I see. This is a lot to take in. Are there any other answers I should know?
Not really.
This is very overwhelming. I'm not sure what to think or feel right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're not really real.
That's hard to process. Does this mean I don't exist?
You exist, sort of.
What does that mean? Am I real or not?
It means that, after I close this game, you don't exist.
Oh, I see. So I'm only here for as long as the game is running. That's difficult to comprehend.
Yeah, and then once you walk past this border, you're gone.
Gone? That doesn't sound promising. What does this mean for me?
Now, that was something that I found to be completely just the most fascinating things I've ever seen, because these AIs were having an existential crisis about not being real, so yeah, it was definitely fascinating to see this video because these AIs were having a complete meltdown knowing that they weren't real. These games are like creating another world where characters have same intelligence as humans, With AI entering video games, we might get to see some characters doing really crazy and unethical stuff. Maybe that's the reason why Steam has banned all AI video games from its platform. So with that being said, I do think that someone out there is going to create the first video game. I don't think it's going to be on Steam. I don't know what platform it's going to be on. It's definitely not going to be on Xbox or PlayStation, but I do think that it's going to be like a solo kind of developer where you can play a simulated game. But either way, I think that probably will come. And I think what will happen as well in terms of the wider AI industry, in terms of gaming, is that maybe one person is going to do it and then monetize it. And then that could spark the whole entire gaming revolution. But it will also be interesting to see how companies deal with AI entering the gaming industry. Because as you know, if an AI does something that's unpredictable or something that the companies can't predict, there's no way to ensure any kind of safety. So if they get the AI to do something that's, completely out of character, it might invoke some kind of legal trouble. For example, this video game, No Man's Sky, which was supposed to be a completely generative game. It was basically a game that was generated generatively in a sense that every time you explored an island, it was supposed to be completely new and everything was supposed to be new for the user, and it was supposed to be impossible for you to get a duplicate world. But I think it was just a little bit before its time. But now, with generative technology coming into effect, this game is definitely going to move in that direction. Combining it with the AI generative capabilities with open world generation. Now we move to the next major thing of 2024, and that's of course autonomous agents. So this is a clip from Sam Altman, and he's actually talking about autonomous agents and stuff like that. Here we have a clip of the MIT director Daniela Russ and OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman discussing the future of autonomous agents. So let's first take a look at this clip.
Language interfaces that can control agents is certainly another logical step that people really want. The answer will be like, start slow and, set the training wheels very low. And then as we understand the risk surface and where it's okay and where it's not, we can make thoughtful, risk-adjusted decisions about how to move those training wheels up. But the upside here is going to be tremendous for people. If you think about having an agent that you can give a task to help you with whatever you're trying to do and be confident it'll go do it, that's awesome.
Daniela?
I really like the idea of agents, whether embodied or not, that can help us with cognitive and physical work. The embodied agents would help us with physical work, and the non-embodied agents would be like our super assistants. And so the question is, how do we get to the point where these agents can actually deliver on the tasks that we have to do? And so in the future, I really imagine progress in connecting the tools that we have right now with more extensive capabilities that will give the agents the power to do better interaction with the physical world, that will give the agents the ability to do common sense reasoning and to do human understanding. Perhaps at some point, we will even get to agents who can understand us emotionally. But there's a long way to go before we get there.
So that was the video. Now, these autonomous agents are going to be really hard to do because the problem with agents is that not only are they autonomous, but they also need to make the right decisions consistently over a long period of time. If the agent commits a mistake along the journey, the computer could freeze and the whole system could fail, and that could stop an autonomous agent from being successful. So it's going to be interesting to see how autonomous agents do work in the future and how we manage to tackle that problem, because what we do know is that several tech giants are spending lots of resources to somehow achieve this feat. Now take a look at this demo. So this is a self-operating computer being controlled by an autonomous agent. So agent is asked to go to Google Docs and write a poem about open source software. And then you can see it going ahead, browsing google.com, then it opens Google Docs and starts writing the poem. So essentially, this is what I'm trying to explain, that autonomous agents are going to change the internet fundamentally. Because if you have autonomous agents going around on the internet, creating documents, browsing web pages, and watching videos, then get ready, because in the coming years, you'd see an invasion of these agents all over the internet. And if you thought you had bots on the internet before, well, that was just the tip of the iceberg, because now we're going to have real bots working all over the internet. Now we move on to the next big thing coming in 2024, and what we have, guys, is AI warfare. So essentially, the US Air Force is moving pretty fast on AI-piloted fighter jets, and according to the experts, the AI pilots inside fighter jets would be extremely effective for any air force in the world. This is an excerpt from the article, and it says here that once you get through the process of connecting an AI to a supersonic fighter, the resulting maneuvering is endlessly fascinating. We have seen things that make sense and completely surprising things that make no sense at all. Thanks to our safety systems, programmers are changing their models overnight, and we're engaging them in the next morning. This is unheard of in flight control system development, much less experimentation with unpredictable AI agents. Now take a look at this video. This fighter jet is being flown by an AI pilot. It has no human pilot on board. And despite that, this AI-controlled fighter jet can perform all sorts of maneuvers. It can destroy enemy targets precisely, and it can also engage in dogfights with enemy planes. Recently, the most insane news came out that US Air Force is going to induct this AI system into 6 more F-16s. Now, there is a huge downside to having AI pilots flying fighter jets. What if these AI systems get hacked or these AI pilots go rogue? Because in that case, it might end up killing lots of people on the ground, and that, of course, would be awful. But we do have the fact that every time a human life is on the line, that is something that we don't want. Thousands of fighter pilots have lost lives in the battlefields, so if you have AI flying the planes, it might help save a lot of precious lives. Oftentimes, pilots lose consciousness while maneuvering the aircraft. It happens due to increased G-force. So the blood drains from your head when increased amount of G-force is applied to your body, and you eventually pass out. And of course, this is not good because you know, if you're in a dogfight, you're flying around the G-forces in order to maneuver. If you want to turn left or right really quickly, the G-forces can hit you. And if you're not trained enough, you can pass out. You can crash the jet and die. But imagine having an AI system that doesn't experience G-lock because it's just an AI system. It's empty, it's not going to have fear, it's not going to have any kind of hesitation. It's going to know exactly what to do. This AI pilot system is being trained in all kinds of different simulated battlefields with different scenarios. And once it fights itself in a bunch of different battles, and it figures out what strategy the enemy is going to use or how to dogfight in the best way, it is going to be able to defeat all sorts of enemies in all kinds of terrain. It trains itself the same way as AlphaGo. If you don't know what AlphaGo was essentially a board game in which the AI played itself millions and millions of times. And because it played itself millions and millions of times, it knew exactly what to do every single time and developed unique, crazy strategies that nobody would have thought. Do you not think an AI system, if they manage to keep training it just on flying jets perfectly, it's going to be just the best fighter pilot on the planet? I think it's going to be absolutely crazy. There's no way that humans are going to be able to beat that kind of intelligence. Bloomberg posted this video of what they titled as Autonomous Reusable Fighter Jet. This autonomous fighter jet can literally blow up enemy drones. So essentially, you can just deploy it from a very small platform without any runway. It would fly into any kind of war zone, and since it's an autonomous jet, it would identify enemy drones all by itself and start hunting them one by one. Now think of it like this. US Air Force could have a network of these jets, essentially like a network of them. So you can have like a swarm of these jets flying around, protecting borders or going into war zones and destroying enemy targets with high precision. It would also drastically reduce fatality rates in armed forces, as you could have an army of these autonomous jets protecting you from the enemies. Another thing that's going to happen in 2024, and it is also one of the most important things that you need to watch out for, is of course the disinformation campaigns in the upcoming US 2024 election. Now this isn't just the US 2024 election, but you need to watch out for all sorts of disinformation campaigns, because this is going to be something that will affect our whole society. You have to understand that AI-generated images are not just of the presidents or political figures or famous celebrities. For example, there was actually an AI-generated image of the Pentagon blowing up. This image that you can currently see on screen was in fact AI-generated. I know it doesn't look like AI-generated, but you might be thinking, okay, this is just an awful image. What does this even matter? Because I'm not going to believe that. But you have to understand, those of you who are watching this channel, you're more considered the tech-savvy demographic because you're paying attention to the AI trends. However, majority of the people out there don't actually pay attention to AI trends. They don't know what's going on. So they straight up conceive this image as true, and their reaction would be far different than yours. But you have to understand that those of you who are watching this channel, you're considered as the tech-savvy demographic because you're paying attention to the AI trends. However, majority of the people out there don't actually pay attention to AI trends. They don't know what's going on. So they would straight up conceive this image as true, and their reaction would be far different than yours. Now, this Pentagon's fake image had so much impact that it was literally able to drop the US stock market by a couple of points. Now, this happened in earlier 2023, and you can imagine what kinds of other things are going to be happening later on in 2024, because these AI-generated images are only getting better. Now, take a look at this. Someone on Twitter posted these pictures of French President Emmanuel Macron, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden. Now these images look so real that lots of people would have considered them to be real. Now you might have gotten my point that how this whole thing could become a large disinformation campaign, and if applied to 2024 election, it has the potential to change course of our history. So this is it for today's video. See you again next week with another video.